Ladies and gentlemen, silence. A concept so simple, yet so profoundly powerful. It is not merely the absence of words, but the deliberate withholding of them. In a world that thrives on noise, chatter, and ceaseless commentary, silence is a rarity, and therein lies its strength. Silence, when wielded consciously, is not just an act of restraint, but a declaration of control over the self. To be silent when provoked or challenged is not a sign of weakness, but of mastery. It demonstrates that you are not a slave to your emotions, that you do not feel compelled to react to every word flung your way. Instead, you stand firm, unshaken, allowing the storm of words to pass. What remains in the aftermath is the undeniable truth. You were never controlled by the chaos. Silence is far more than the absence of words. It is an intentional, deliberate tool that carries immense power when used with precision. In a world driven by constant communication, where everyone feels the need to speak, respond, and assert their opinions, silence can stand out as an act of quiet defiance and thoughtful strength. To choose silence is to exercise control over your impulses and to refrain from the compulsion to fill every moment with noise. This ability to remain silent, particularly in situations where emotions are running high, is not an easy feat, but it is a skill that demonstrates profound self-mastery. Silence conveys a sense of authority and self-assurance. When you remain silent in the face of provocation, people instinctively notice. They wonder what lies behind your stillness. Are you processing information? Are you choosing your words carefully? Or are you simply so confident in your position that you feel no need to respond immediately? The answers to these questions are often irrelevant because the impact of silence is less about what you do and more about what it forces others to perceive. The very act of choosing silence creates intrigue, curiosity, and sometimes discomfort in others, as they are unaccustomed to being met with stillness rather than an immediate reply. This power of silence can manifest in various ways. Consider moments of conflict or heated discussion. Most people, when confronted with opposition, instinctively defend themselves, speaking rapidly to justify their position or dismantle the arguments of others. But when you withhold a response, it shifts the dynamic entirely. Instead of meeting aggression with aggression or noise with noise, silence introduces a pause, a void that others are compelled to address. That pause can be disarming. It allows emotions to settle, tempers to cool, and rationality to resurface. In this way, silence often says far more than words ever could. Silence is an unspoken acknowledgement of your own value. When you remain silent, you are in essence refusing to give away your energy or thoughts frivolously. You are not rushing to prove yourself or seeking validation through the approval of others. Instead, you are holding your ground, content to let the silence speak for you. This act demonstrates to others and reminds yourself that you are in control, not driven by the need for immediate resolution or attention. Silence is not passive. It is a deeply active choice, requiring restraint and discipline. It reflects an understanding that not all battles need to be fought with words, and not every situation requires immediate participation. Silence communicates strength, focus, and patience, qualities that are increasingly rare in a world dominated by impulsive reactions and ceaseless commentary. To wield silence effectively is to command attention without uttering a single syllable, to influence others without direct engagement, and to create space for deeper thought and reflection. In this sense, silence becomes a formidable tool for those who know its value, teaching others that true power often lies in what remains unspoken. Self-mastery is one of the most profound demonstrations of personal strength, and restraint is at its very core. To resist the urge to speak impulsively when provoked or confronted requires a deep level of control over one's emotions and reactions. This is not a passive process. It is an active choice that reflects maturity, discipline, and emotional intelligence. Silence in moments of tension is not merely the avoidance of conflict, but an act of conscious self-governance, a way to rise above impulsive tendencies and maintain clarity amidst chaos. Restraint begins with understanding that you are not obligated to respond to everything that demands your attention. The world is full of noise, comments, criticisms, and provocations, all designed to elicit a reaction. The impulsive response is to engage immediately, to defend yourself, or to fight back against the words of others. But true self-mastery lies in recognizing that not all provocations deserve your energy. Silence in this sense is not about passivity or avoidance. It is a deliberate decision to conserve your energy for moments that truly matter. It's about refusing to let external events dictate your internal state. Choosing silence over reaction is an act of emotional intelligence. It requires you to pause, assess your feelings, and decide whether speaking in the moment would serve a constructive purpose or simply escalate the situation. This pause is critical. It allows you to move beyond the initial emotional surge, anger, frustration, or defensiveness, and approach the situation with greater perspective. When you resist the impulse to speak immediately, you regain control over the narrative, rather than allowing your emotions or the provocations of others to control you. Restraint through silence shifts the balance of power in any interaction. When someone confronts you or challenges you, they often expect a reaction. By choosing silence, you disrupt their expectations. This act of non-reaction can be incredibly disarming. It communicates that you are not rattled, that you are in control of yourself and the situation. People often interpret silence as strength because it suggests that you do not feel the need to explain, justify, or defend yourself in the moment. It is a quiet assertion of confidence and self-assuredness. Restraint also creates space for reflection. By not speaking impulsively, you give yourself time to think more deeply about the situation. This pause often leads to better decisions and responses, ones that are rooted in logic and clarity rather than emotion. Over time, this practice of restraint cultivates patience and wisdom, qualities that not only benefit you, but also influence those around you. To master silence is to master yourself. It is a discipline that requires practice, but its rewards are immense. In choosing restraint, you not only demonstrate strength and emotional intelligence, but also develop a profound sense of inner peace. You learn that you are not at the mercy of external circumstances or the words of others. Instead, you remain steadfast, deliberate, and in control, an embodiment of true self-mastery. Though often overlooked, is one of the most powerful forms of communication. It transcends words and operates in a realm of its own, compelling others to engage with it in ways they might not even realize. When you choose silence, you are not simply withholding words. You are actively shaping the narrative by creating space for interpretation, reflection, and deeper engagement. In a world where words often flow freely and impulsively, silence becomes an act of intentionality, a statement in itself. Every interaction is a two-way process. When you remain silent, the dynamic of communication shifts entirely. In the absence of your words, the other party is left to navigate their thoughts and assumptions without your direct guidance. This can create a sense of discomfort, as people are generally conditioned to expect immediate feedback, validation, or opposition. Silence forces them to fill in the gaps, often revealing their own insecurities, biases, or vulnerabilities. In this way, silence becomes an indirect mirror, reflecting the unspoken truths of those who encounter it. Silence has the unique ability to draw attention. When words are absent, people tend to focus more intently on the silence itself. They start to wonder what it means. Are you thinking deeply? Are you choosing not to engage? Or are you silently judging their words? This ambiguity is powerful because it compels others to analyze their own behavior and motives. In many cases, they begin to question the validity of their arguments or the appropriateness of their actions simply because your silence introduces doubt. Silence creates a sense of authority. When you choose not to speak, it implies that you are confident enough in your position that you do not need to explain or defend yourself. It communicates that you are secure in your thoughts and decisions, leaving others to grapple with their own interpretations. This perceived confidence can elevate your presence in any situation, as it signals that you are not swayed by the immediate need to react or justify. Silence gives weight to your eventual words. If you are silent for a period of time and then choose to speak, your words carry greater significance. People are more likely to listen closely because they have learned that you do not speak without reason. Your silence creates anticipation, and when you finally break it, the impact of your message is amplified. In this way, silence enhances the effectiveness of communication by ensuring that what is said is purposeful and deliberate. Silence also fosters a sense of control over the conversation. When you refrain from speaking, you dictate the pace and tone of the interaction. You create space for observation and analysis, allowing yourself to better understand the dynamics at play. This understanding enables you to respond more strategically when you do choose to engage, making your contributions more impactful and insightful. Silence is far more than a lack of words. It is a powerful tool that shapes perception, fosters self-awareness, and transforms the dynamics of communication. By using silence intentionally, you can convey strength, provoke thought, and guide interactions in ways that words alone cannot achieve. It is a subtle yet profound form of influence, reminding others and yourself that communication is not just about speaking, but also about knowing when not to speak. Silence is not merely the absence of sound. It is a deliberate act of creating space, a space to think, to observe, and to strategize. In moments of conflict or uncertainty, silence becomes a powerful ally, offering clarity and insight when the impulse to react could lead to missteps. It provides the opportunity to pause and assess the situation, granting you the advantage of thoughtful action rather than impulsive reaction. In the heat of a disagreement or high-stakes conversation, emotions often run high. The natural tendency is to respond immediately, to defend your position, or to counter an argument. But reacting in the moment, especially under the influence of strong emotions, rarely produces the best outcome. Silence, on the other hand, allows for a moment of stillness amidst the chaos. It offers a chance to step back, detach from the emotional intensity of the situation, and view it with a clear, objective lens. This pause can prevent you from saying something you might regret, or from making a decision based on incomplete information. Strategic silence is an invaluable tool for observation. When you refrain from speaking, you create space to listen, not just to the words being said, but to the tone, the pauses, and the underlying emotions. You notice the body language, the subtle shifts in posture, and the fleeting expressions that reveal what words might conceal. Silence sharpens your awareness and allows you to gather information that would otherwise be missed in the noise of rapid exchanges. This heightened perception gives you a clearer understanding of the dynamics at play and the motivations of those involved. Silence also shifts the balance of power in an interaction. When you do not rush to fill the void, you force others to confront it. This can be unsettling, as most people are uncomfortable with silence and feel compelled to fill it with words. In doing so, they often reveal more than they intended, sharing their fears, insecurities, or assumptions. By remaining silent, you create an environment where others expose themselves while you maintain control of your own position. Silence is a breeding ground for creativity and problem solving. In moments of stillness, your mind has the freedom to explore ideas, consider alternatives, and weigh the consequences of various actions. This reflective space is essential for developing strategies that are not only effective, but also aligned with your values and long-term goals. Silence grants you the time to evaluate your options and choose a course of action that is thoughtful and deliberate rather than reactive and hasty. Strategic silence communicates confidence. It shows that you are not rushed or pressured into responding. Your silence conveys that you are in control of yourself and the situation, signaling strength and composure. This often leads others to view you as a thoughtful, measured individual, someone who does not act on impulse, but takes the time to consider all aspects before making a move. Silence becomes an active and purposeful strategy, a tool for gaining clarity, gathering information, and responding with wisdom. It is not a withdrawal or surrender, but a calculated decision to prioritize thoughtfulness over immediacy, ensuring that your actions are as effective and impactful as possible. Through silence, you harness the power of observation and reflection, giving yourself the upper hand in any situation. Silence is a profoundly disarming force. In its stillness, it wields a quiet but potent power, one that can make others uncomfortable, uncertain, and even intimidated. Its ambiguity is its strength. Silence leaves people guessing, questioning, and reflecting in ways that spoken words rarely achieve. It creates an air of unpredictability, forcing others to confront their own assumptions and insecurities in the absence of immediate verbal cues. When you choose silence in a conversation, particularly in moments of conflict or confrontation, you disrupt the rhythm of the exchange. Most people are accustomed to quick responses, to back and forth arguments, and to the validation or challenge of their words through immediate feedback. Silence breaks this pattern. It introduces a pause, an absence of response that feels unnatural and unsettling to those who expect constant engagement. In this space, they are left to wonder what you are thinking, why you are not responding, and what it means for the direction of the conversation. This ambiguity can create a sense of vulnerability in others. When there are no words to analyze, no explicit reaction to interpret, people begin to project their own fears, doubts, or insecurities onto the silence. They may second-guess their own words, question the strength of their position, or feel the need to over-explain themselves. In doing so, they often reveal more about their internal state than they realize. Silence, in this way, becomes a mirror that reflects their uncertainties back at them. The intimidating nature of silence also lies in the control it conveys. To remain silent is to assert that you are not at the mercy of the situation, that you are not compelled to react or defend yourself impulsively. It signals that you are in control, not only of your words, but also of your emotions and the flow of the interaction. This quiet composure can be profoundly unsettling to those who expect a more immediate or emotional response. It suggests confidence, strength, and an unshakable sense of self. Silence shifts the burden of communication onto the other party. When you do not respond, they feel compelled to fill the void, often speaking more than they intended, or revealing information they might have otherwise withheld. Silence creates a psychological imbalance where the discomfort of the unknown pushes others to overcompensate. This dynamic can give you a strategic advantage, allowing you to gather valuable insights while maintaining your own position of clarity and control. Silence is not passive. It is an active, intentional choice. It requires restraint, discipline, and the ability to endure discomfort, both for yourself and for those around you. But when used skillfully, it becomes a powerful tool for navigating complex situations. It unsettles and disarms others, forcing them to engage with their own thoughts and insecurities while you remain grounded and composed. The intimidating nature of silence lies in its unpredictability. It keeps others off balance, creating a sense of uncertainty that challenges their assumptions and exposes their vulnerabilities. In a world that often equates power with loudness and constant expression, silence serves as a profound reminder that strength does not always need to be spoken. It can exist quietly, in the stillness that speaks volumes. Silence is not just an external act, it is also an internal process that serves as a catalyst for growth. In the midst of silence, you find the space to pause, reflect, and confront your thoughts without distraction. This introspection allows you to develop clarity about who you are, what you value, and how you wish to navigate the world. By being far from being a passive state, silence is a dynamic force for personal transformation, fostering wisdom and resilience that shape your character and decisions. In a world filled with noise, both external and internal, silence offers a rare opportunity to step away from the chaos. When you embrace silence, you create a sanctuary where the pressures of constant interaction, validation, and performance are momentarily set aside. It is in this stillness that you can reconnect with yourself, free from the influence of outside opinions and expectations. This time for reflection helps you identify what truly matters to you, sharpening your priorities and aligning your actions with your values. Silence also nurtures self-awareness. In moments of stillness, you can observe your thoughts and emotions with greater clarity. You begin to recognize patterns in your reactions, understand the triggers that influence your behavior, and identify the beliefs that shape your worldview. This heightened awareness enables you to grow beyond the limitations of your current mindset, making room for new perspectives and deeper understanding. Silence in this way becomes a tool for emotional and intellectual growth, helping you refine your approach to life and relationships. Beyond self-awareness, silence fosters creativity. When you quiet the constant stream of external input, your mind has the freedom to wander, explore, and innovate. Some of the most profound ideas and solutions emerge in moments of quiet contemplation, when your thoughts are not constrained by the demands of immediate communication or problem solving. Silence allows your mind to connect seemingly unrelated concepts, leading to insights that might have otherwise remained hidden in the noise of daily life. Silence builds resilience. By choosing to sit with silence rather than escape it, you develop the ability to face discomfort and uncertainty. Silence forces you to confront the things you might otherwise avoid, your fears, doubts, and vulnerabilities. This confrontation is not easy, but it is essential for growth. It strengthens your capacity to endure difficult emotions and situations, teaching you that you are capable of navigating challenges without being overwhelmed by them. Silence also enhances your relationships with others. When you practice silence, you learn to listen more deeply and attentively. This ability to truly hear others fosters empathy and understanding, building stronger connections. Additionally, by cultivating your own inner growth through silence, you bring a more grounded and authentic presence to your interactions, enriching the quality of your relationships. Silence is a space for renewal. It allows you to shed the noise and distractions that cloud your vision, reconnect with your inner self, and emerge stronger, wiser, and more intentional. By embracing silence, you create the conditions for continuous growth, ensuring that you are not merely reacting to life, but actively shaping it. Silence, then, is not emptiness. It is the fertile ground where your potential takes root and flourishes. In conclusion, silence is not simply the absence of words. It is a deliberate, powerful tool that can shape our lives and interactions in profound ways. By choosing silence, we exercise self-mastery, demonstrating emotional intelligence and control over our impulses. It forces others to engage with their own thoughts, assumptions, and insecurities, often revealing more than words ever could. Silence creates space for strategic thinking, allowing us to reflect, assess, and respond thoughtfully rather than react impulsively. It can intimidate, not because it is a form of avoidance, but because it conveys strength, authority, and clarity in a world that often values constant noise. Silence is a catalyst for personal growth. In its stillness, we find the opportunity to reflect, nurture self-awareness, foster creativity, and build resilience. It allows us to cultivate deeper relationships and a stronger sense of purpose by reconnecting with our own inner voice. Silence, therefore, becomes a powerful force in shaping not only how others perceive us, but how we perceive ourselves and our place in the world. In a society that often values rapid responses and constant communication, silence stands as a quiet reminder that strength is not always found in speaking, but in knowing when to remain still. It is in these moments of silence that we can rise above the noise, find clarity, and gain the wisdom to navigate life's challenges with intention and grace. So the next time you are faced with uncertainty or provocation, remember that sometimes the most powerful response is not to speak, but to confuse them with your silence.